Hi guys, Brad from Monera Marine. In front of me is a mold for a swim grid, or some say swim platform. It was specifically made for a 26-foot Tollycraft. Now these were built in Washington State, and they made almost 900 of them between 1973 and 1987. Now the original swim grid was only 14 inches wide. Customer with the Tollycraft approached us and he wanted us to build him a larger one. And this is what we came up with. So it's 96 inches wide or long by 28 inches this direction. So that's twice the size of the original. We're going to lay up one of these for another customer, but it will be modified because he's getting a kicker added in the middle of the boat. And so we need to remove sections of the swim grid to fit the kicker. And to do that, we have to add inserts to the mold before we lay it up. I first did a drawing of the design in AutoCAD using the dimensions from the customer. There I marked out the center of the mold and the position of the inserts. I then cut out the pieces to make my inserts. I'm using 3/4 inch MDF, which we typically use for making one-off molds. So this is for the where the bracket's going. It's mounted straight to the transom, and then we've got the notch for the kicker motor, and that goes like that, and then that's just to reinforce it there. These are the vents which allow water to escape through if the swim grid slams down into the water. It lowers the force of the water on the grid to help prevent it getting ripped off. You often see these on larger swim grids. We have never actually added them to this swim grid, but the customer asked for it. So I cut these on my CNC. They're both 3/4 inch, and we'll put them together so it'll be 1.5 inches thick. And it's going to go approximately right here. So there'll be one on each side. The next step is to assemble these and get them ready for layup. I've tacked the pieces together with pin nails and resin. We coat the surface with resin, and we're filling all the little pinholes with the filler. We finished spraying the gel coat. Now we have to sand it and make it super shiny and smooth. The pieces have been wet sanded and polished and hot glued into place. So this is the vent, and then we're putting a radius. You see that beige color there? That is the radius made with plasticine. First we heat up the plasticine and roll it out like that. And we push it into place. Then we use our radius tool to create the radius. Then we trim off the excess. We're now ready for spraying the gel coat. So we mixed our color of gel coat. We're matching it to this sample here. A few hours later, the gel coat has cured enough to lay up the fiberglass. So we're starting with the skin layer, just one layer of 1 ounce mat. Skinning is done, and now we trim the edge when it's partially cured, and then we don't have to grind it. The layup is almost done. We've put in the series of mat and roving and 1/2-inch plywood, and now we're putting in these 3/4 inch pieces, and that is where the braces will be mounted. And we've added one here because it's a narrow section. All the extra wood is now in place, and we're ready to glass it. So in an hour, we're adding our last bit of glass to mat, plus rolling around the perimeter. Glassing is done. Now we just have to trim the perimeter. So that's about right for trimming. That's a little soft still. It's all come out clean, and we've even got the inserts out. We ground all around the edges, made it nice and straight and smooth, and the last thing to do is to brush on the gray gel coat on the bottom. There you have it, the finished product. I hope you liked the video. Give us a like if you did. Now in review, this was a swim grid made for a 26-foot Tollycraft. It was customized from our original mold. Now we can make one for you. It could be a basic one, or it could be customized, and it will actually work for other boats. It doesn't have to be a Tolly, as long as it's 8 feet long and has a straight transom. I put the contact info for us right below here.